question is, are Miranda's feelings of instant passion for Ferdinand just inexperience in dramatic circumstances, or has she actually just met the love of her life? What do you think?
Sometimes, when you meet someone who's going to change your life, you just know it, I guess.
There's a scene in Life is Strange Before the Storm that has been playing on my mind since I replayed it to make the fan art you saw on the thumbnail. I'm sure most people watching have played the game, but for anyone who hasn't, or if it's been a while, I'll give you the short version.
So far, what I've learned about you is that you're into acting, lying, and playing games.
What's your point?
That you're either full of imagination or full of shit.
Let me know when you figure out which one.
Chloe and Rachel meet by chance at a show neither of them are really meant to be at. Rachel saves Chloe, and Chloe is surprised to see her, considering she's meant to be this popular, perfect, straight A student. Rachel continues to interact with Chloe the next day, asking her to skip school, and Chloe, well...
It's nice Rachel we're having.
What?
I mean, weather. It's nice weather.
Rachel discovers her dad, James, has been keeping a secret from her, and she gets really angry, pushing Chloe away.
Goodbye, Chloe.
Chloe has a dream where her dead dad tells her,
"Sometimes people need you though, even when they don't admit it."
So Chloe goes back to Rachel, and Rachel's anger at her father's betrayal turns into this. The two girls bond over losing their perfect fathers in different ways, and agree to run away together. In the meantime, Chloe's home life grows to feel more suffocating, and Rachel's anger at her father builds. If you're like 70% of people, this also probably happened. Rachel and Chloe sit down for an awkward family dinner with Rachel's parents, which results in a confrontation.
Why can't you just tell me the fucking truth?
And the truth comes out.
That was your mother.
Rachel, feeling like her whole life is a lie, tells Chloe,
I think you're the only one in the world I can trust.
Chloe is determined to do whatever she can to make Rachel happy. This ends up in Rachel getting stabbed, and Chloe finds Rachel's birth mother, Sarah. Turns out Sarah was an addict and struggled for years to get sober so she could meet Rachel. Only James didn't want her interacting with their daughter and hired this guy to stop her from doing so. He succeeds by taking away her sobriety, and Sarah has one final conversation with Chloe before she leaves, asking her to cover up what James did and never to tell Rachel the truth about what happened.
Tell her what James did, and you'll be killing him for her. You understand that, don't you? You lost your father. Do you really want to put Rachel through that?
It's your choice whether you want to continue to let Rachel believe her dad is ultimately a good person, or reveal the truth about who he really is to her.
I've got to tell you something.
And there's also a secret ending where you can get Rachel to meet her mother if you say all the right things and tell Rachel the truth. Either way though, Chloe and Rachel live happily ever after, and absolutely nothing bad happens after the game is over. I mean, wouldn't it just be so horrible if...
Oh, Rachel, no, please not!
So, the thing about making this fan art was that I wanted to express what I enjoyed so much about the relationship between Rachel and Chloe. On the surface, it's kind of obvious, right? Rachel feels like everything and everyone around her is fake, putting up this perfect facade that she's expected to hold up to. She's drawn to Chloe, who's honestly just a bit of a depressed mess, because she's real, and she doesn't really care. Chloe's still mourning her dad, and she isn't over losing Max.
Hey, Max. My friend Max. Wish Max were here. Her name was Max.
Before Rachel, she just coped with her situation, however she could, and looked forward to the dreams she would have of her father at night. During the day, people have all these expectations of her that she feels she can't live up to, and she doesn't try to either. Rachel doesn't have these expectations though. She doesn't want Chloe to change, she likes her as she is. They work well together. They both want out of Arcadia Bay, and they're kind of the only thing keeping each other grounded. Without Chloe, Rachel's anger would have probably led to the destruction of a lot more in her life, including her life.
I was told that if Rachel had arrived only a few minutes later, she might not have,
Likewise, without Rachel, Chloe would have stayed stuck in a cycle of choosing the
Dream life over real life. That's my motto.
I couldn't get this one scene out of my mind though. It happens about halfway through the game, after Rachel starts the fire, and Chloe falls asleep in the truck that they plan to leave in.
Amazing, isn't it? I can't look away.
Sure.
don't pretend you're not mesmerized too.
See? You're so drawn to it, you don't even realize the danger.
Danger?
Fire blinds us, just like darkness. But darkness blinds with absence, with loss.
What does fire blind with?
Beauty. But sometimes, there's a greater beauty yet to come.
Incredible.
Fire is jealous, Chloe. It wants all the beauty for itself. That's why you need to be careful.
Careful of what?
Of getting burned.
There's a lot of very deliberate symbolism in Before the Storm, and I think it's put pretty clearly in this dream. There are three elements: fire, the raven, and stars. Fire seems to be a stand-in for passion and intense emotion, and that tracks. A lot of characters talk about passion, desire, love, hate, etc. Rachel herself embodies various different definitions and aspects of passion. To me, what comes across the strongest as an emotion in this game is rage and frustration. I was also filled with rage as a 16-year-old, so this is pretty relatable. This is backed up by one of the soundtrack's songs being Burn It Down.
I'll set fire to the whole place. I don't even care about our house. It's not the same in here since he left anyway.
The Raven is more complex. I spent actual days thinking about a clear meaning for the Raven in Before the Storm, but I could never just settle on one. And after reading this interview with Chris Floyd, the co-director of the game, I realized why. The Raven doesn't only have one meaning. It is kind of like the doe from the first game, it's got several. And that actually helps me because I couldn't just boil it down to one of the many ideas I had about it. I'll go through some of them here. First of all, ravens are associated with death, loss, and bad omens. Chloe's grieving, and so there's an argument you could make that this raven that follows her everywhere she goes, especially into these dreams of her father, is a metaphor for her grief and depression, or a physical manifestation of the darkness that William mentions. Rachel offers some light in her life, and so by the end of the game, that bird flies off into the sunset, and Chloe is able to move on from being stuck in that well of sadness. Then there's this plaque you can find in the game. Here it says that the raven stands for transformation. I saw online that some people said it represented Rachel in a way, but I'm not sure. I do think it could be linked to Rachel and Chloe's relationship though. Chloe's life changes after she meets Rachel. And I think the Raven shows up for the first time when they're on the train together, having their little bonding session. Chloe's dreams change after this, and the Raven appears in that first weird dream. It does appear just as William briefly turns into David, Chloe's soon-to-be stepfather, so it could be that it represents her life changing in general. There's also a reference to the Tower Tarot card, which represents sudden change and kind of adds to this idea. That's not all though. Ravens are also associated with wisdom, prophecy, and insight. There are moments that the Raven appears to guide Chloe towards her next move, or at least towards Rachel. The first time it appears in a dream, William tells her to help Rachel. If the Raven is a trickster as mentioned in that plaque, could it maybe be hijacking Chloe's dreams of her father in order to offer her some sort of guidance in her life? Finally, there's the simplest metaphor that birds are so often used for, the theme of freedom. Throughout Before the Storm, freedom, escape, and a sense of self is a major theme, so I don't think it's a coincidence that the game's most prominent creature is a bird. There's probably even more to this that I'm missing, but to be honest, I don't want to think about it anymore. Let's just move on to the last thing. There is this idea throughout the game, often voiced by Rachel, that there's more to experience out there. That there is beauty beyond what's in front of you right now. It's echoed here as a greater beauty beyond fire and darkness, ironically or maybe intentionally, by balls of fire that permeate the darkness, stars. At the beginning of episode 3, you finally get to enter Rachel's room. It's plastered with stars, planetariums, star sign charts, star stickers, and this nightlight that you use to cheer Rachel up. She and Chloe have a conversation about stars, where Rachel says,
I've always loved stars. They remind us there's so much beauty out there, which we almost never see.
Because we're blinded by what's in front of us.
Exactly.
I think the stars, at least in some ways, represent hope.
But then I learned the truth. The stars we're seeing have already been dead for millions of years. They're all lies.
Rachel loses hope for a while, but finds it again with Chloe's help. And I think that's why at the end of this scene she says,
I was just thinking, maybe I was wrong before. Who cares if the stars are dead? As long as we can still see them, that means they're real. To us. Right?
Right.
The art I made is meant to show how Chloe and Rachel are there for each other. Rachel's on fire, filled with hurt and anger, but that fire doesn't burn Chloe. To Chloe, Rachel's a warm light in a dark world filled with loss. Between these two realities sits the Raven, a silent observer, subtle influence, and reminder of their desire for freedom. The lights of the vanity mirror in the background are shaped like stars, showing they have found something special in their connection to each other, and the promises they made each other are etched into the wood of the mirror. They are each other's connection to reality and the world, a reminder that life can be beautiful, and they found that beauty in their friendship. I don't know if what I've said or drawn here makes much sense, but I do feel like it illustrates the feeling I get when I play the game. Is the fan art perfect? No, I think maybe the words on the mirror are a little on the nose, but I'm still new to doing these, so don't judge me too harshly. Okay, that's basically the end of the video. I just wanted to add a couple of things before it ends, and I'll try and keep it short. First of all, thank you. The last video reached a lot more people than I expected, and there were so many nice comments. I don't know if this video will do as well, but if you're watching, I really appreciate the support, so thank you. I just hit my hand. Secondly, if you like the art from this video or the last one, I'm selling them on a site called InPrint. There's a link in the description. And thirdly, I am still working on my webcomic, but I'm taking my time with it because, you know, writing is hard. And that's it. Thanks again if you made it this far, and try not to start any forest fires.